Hello and welcome. My name is Bashir Fadl, and I'd like to welcome you on our journey into Salesforce administration. Today we're going to be talking about creating a workflow on Salesforce. Well, I do know through the setup, I can get to the administration features and platform tools, and under process automation, I'll find workflow actions and workflow rules, and so we're going to click on workflow rules. But before we even start creating our workflow, the first question is, what is a workflow? Suppose that I would like to track a competitor so as to coordinate with my sales rep in a system when they're meeting a certain competitor in the field through an opportunity where it's a competitor field in there. Suppose whenever an opportunity of over 500,000 is won, a certain alert has to be created or a certain email has to be sent out. So in simple terms, a workflow is a business logic that evaluates records as they're created and updated and determines if an automated action needs to occur. In a way, it allows records to speak up or do something, update data, notify people, or even external systems. Workflow replaces the constant monitoring users have to otherwise do via reports and dashboards or views to know whether or not it is time to act. So whenever we log into our workflow rules, we're going to get a little cheat sheet. Of course, we can skip out of that. Otherwise, it's always going to be there. For now, we're just going to continue. In my case, for my opportunities, because I purchased a list and I want to evaluate the value of that list that were purchased, I'd like to track on every opportunity the lead source. And so whenever the lead source is a purchase list, I'd like to be notified about it. Not only via email, but potentially maybe I would like to, even a couple of weeks after that, get an alert or something to that effect so I can further decide if I'd like to, if I thought the purchase list was worth it, so I can evaluate something else. So not only just the email notification at the time, but also I can schedule something to happen in the future as well. Okay, so we're going to create our new rule. It's going to be our lead source rule. The first thing we need is to define which object this is going to work against, which we said is the opportunity. Click Next. So for the role name, we'll call it the lead source rule. Now let's look at the criteria. We have a couple of options. We're not putting a formula now. We just want to see whenever that criteria is met. So the field is lead source. The condition is equals. And for some of them, we do have the option to lookup. So since I have a lookup, I'm going to click on that. And we're specifically interested in purchase list. Okay, let's save and evaluate our roles. The role criteria is when the lead source is equal to purchase list. All right, so that's the criteria. What's the workflow action? Let's go ahead and add one. And here are some of the possibilities that we have. We can create a new task. We can send out an email alert. We can actually update the value of a field or the new outbound message, XML format usually, or select an existing action that we could build on. In this case, we want to simply send out an email alert. And so for the description, we'll put in lead source purchase list. Normally, we'd have an email template, which is a different session by itself, which if we had one ready, we'd click on this, and then we'd be able to select the appropriate template for the lead source notification. Another required piece is who receives the email. So in this case, it could be a user. So I can add myself. Or more appropriately, usually in a workflow, the owner usually is the person that needs to be notified, so you can pick the owner, and then it would be the opportunity owner, depending on the criteria that you find appropriate for your workflow. Additionally, we can also add up to 5 other email accounts. We'll default our information and click Save. So this is really awesome. We have our criteria and we have our email alert that's set up if that's met. Furthermore, however, we could also do something else. We can also add a time-dependent workflow action to this process, to this workflow. So let's say in about 15 days from the time the rule fires, of course, we need to assign it to So we'll fill the information, and we want to put that 1 day after that trigger fires. So that a notification is sent 1 day after. Let's go ahead and save it. And now on one event, we have two separate independent workflows that are going to run. The first one is where we're sending an email after analyzing, and so after we evaluate that criteria. And of course, based on that criteria, an email is sent automatically. And after that one is fired, then I would like to, after that's fired, about 15 days later, would like to kind of follow up on that task. So now we've set it up, we'll click Done. Is it going to run automatically? No, it's not, because it hasn't been activated yet. So we'll need to activate it. And of course, if it's the first time that we're setting it, we need to set our process automation settings, including the default workflow user. Let's save that, and now our workflow rules are activated. How would I know if this workflow works? Well, let's go to Opportunities. Let's pick one of our opportunities. Drill into the details. Go into the lead source and switch that into a purchase list. And save it. If that works, then in my Gmail account, we should see the number 1 pop up. Sure enough, that's our email getting sent. And so thank you for joining us in today's session on creating a workflow in Salesforce. And good luck with the rest of the journey on Salesforce administration training.